Well, hello, this is Cindy, another episode with Ask Cindy Connector Live. Make sure that you follow me on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And really quickly, I'm just going to go to the Ask Cindy Connector Live. I'm going to share this to my personal. If anybody has any questions, just feel free to comment. And so, what you're going to have to do, you're going to go to Ask Cindy Connector Live on Facebook. In order for Facebook and StreamYard to marry together, make sure to also go to streamyard.com/Facebook. So, my name is Cindy Lee. I am the founder and host of Ask Cindy Connector Live. You may ask what my show is about. I love connecting others. I'm very passionate about my business, but I also like sharing what my friends are doing, and I want to share them to my sphere of influence. So Ask Cindy Connector actually started about 3 years ago. And about a month and a half ago, I started going live. So why not share more about what I'm doing and share it to the masses? So this is actually shared on Facebook and on YouTube. And I'm so excited. Chris is in the house. She is with Embellished Butterfly. So tell us a little backstory on how you got started and how long have you been in your industry?
Well, actually, Cindy, I am CEO of two businesses. Embellished Butterfly was the one that I launched just about 2 years ago. And it is a creative entrepreneur business and
Nice.
self-owned. And so what we do is we create unique, personalized, sparkling objects, all with only Swarovski crystals. And the way that started was many, many years ago, a hot minute. As a young adult, I actually worked with a woman, and she had a production team, and I was one of her young adult production assistants, if you will. And we actually took the big, chunky, fancy Swarovski crystals, and we made high-end costume jewelry for like high-end boutiques. And so then I learned to love the colors and all the sparkles, and so the love of sparkles never went away. As an adult, and being a mom, being an employee. I've had all kinds of different chapters in my work history, but the longest one has been that of being an online retailer for about 15 years. So with that type of business, it's not really that much customer oriented or connection oriented, and certainly not creative. I had a product, it sold itself. The fulfillment and distribution, that part of the business, I got very, very comfortable with. Well, about 7 years ago, I decided I wanted to turn my business into something more creative, something more beautiful. How do I make a difference and an impact through my art? And part of that journey and that process is like, you know what, anytime we listen to a song on the radio or we watch a television show, we read a book, we appreciate art, it's like, there's a creative people in our world who've been able to make a living and thrive off of doing what they love, and just making the world a more beautiful place. And so how was I going to do that? Initially thought I would make jewelry because that's what I knew how to do. I've been a creative all my life in different respects, like cake decorating, floral design, just have that creative eye for color and putting things together, and that meticulous process. And so I decided that I would bring Swarovski crystals back into my life, and went and just got a wholesale account with them because I knew I wanted to deal directly with the company, not have to worry about getting third-party pricing or maybe potentially getting a not authentic product. But anyway, so aside from jewelry, there's a lot of great jewelry artisans. How do I do something totally unique and different? And early in my sales career, one of the things that really stood out to me was number one, sales 101s. No today doesn't mean no 6 months from now, right? So I learned the integrity of the follow through and follow up, and in integrity that way. But also, how do I differentiate myself from everyone else? And so that's when my aha came. It's like, what can I do that's different? And that is make unique, beautiful products that are specific to the individual, not me, right? It's like, what can I do for them? And so I started doing like monograms and logos, and I have a couple of examples. And I know you've got some right there with my website. Thank you for showing that up. But that's really how it got started. And it was my foray into networking. I never had to network and go out and introduce myself or get involved in the community in a entrepreneurial way. I either had my online business or I worked for someone else. So networking is really, I'm still a baby. I've only been doing it for about 18 months now. but I've made some amazing connections, which is the foray into the next business that I launched in October, which is a collaborative of dozens, hundreds of other creative entrepreneurs in creating an online gifting platform. And you mentioned Tirza before, and she actually happens to be one of the people that I've created or collaborated with quite a bit in the last
Yes.
year and a half. So lots of amazing opportunities. Cindy, what I do, just like yourself, I do an amazing job of showing up for other people. So when I look at marketing as a strategy, when I can showcase other creative entrepreneurs, that makes my heart happy to help them elevate and market their business. And so I'm looking forward to lots of great things with Panache. In addition to Embellish Butterfly, will keep percolating, and I'll keep marketing that because I've always said what I do in that on that side of the business is teachable and reproducible. And I also offer creative workshops, a little bit different. Mine are more sparkly. Tears is more creative with her watercolors. So and I've had the pleasure of participating in her class as well.
So that's another fun bucket list. So tell us about your workshops.
Oh gosh. So there's a couple different styles. I'll kind of go in with the
Mhm.
101. Basically, what I do is put together a kit for a drinking vessel, and they're the stainless steel.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, stainless steel, double walled, and they always have a lid on them. So a lot of ladies like to call them a wine cup. I call it a sippy cup, and it's also for hot and cold beverages, right? And I kind of joke around when I do a workshop because I'll take one on vacation because they just travel so well. Well, in the morning you can have your coffee or tea, then in the afternoon you can put whatever you want in there. Nobody has to know what's in your cup, but they're good for kids as well. And because I have such a vast inventory of the Swarovski crystals, it allows me the ability to customize colors. And I send the stencil and just all the instructions, all the materials to make it
Oh,
a very
wow.
easy 90-minute workshop. And then the women that participate, they get to connect, and it's a different vibe using the technology of Zoom. I mean, because we hear a lot of complaints, well, I just can't watch another Zoom. Well, when you're being creative and using that right side of your brain, it's an entirely different experience, and it's very interactive and it's fun. And you have a useful, useful item when you're all finished, and they make great gifts too. Pretty fabulous. So that would be like a 101, and then we also do water bottles.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this happens to be specific for like October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Of course, we
Mhm.
could put different colored ribbons for different types of awareness. Um, Also, sports teams. So as you can see, the
Oh, wow.
possibilities really are endless when you get creative. And there's a couple other things I have up my sleeve, but I'll let you ask some questions now.
So we're both in the client retention business, mailbox power. So if I created a water bottle on there, can you embellish like the backside of it?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
what would be the cost factor for that? How does that work? You just
Well,
bottle, you design and send it back.
it would depend on the design that you want. As a matter of fact, one of my first water bottle workshops, we have another friend in a similar networking group, and she wanted to take one of her bottles from that company, and she wanted to bling out the cap and put it in complementary colors because she had one of her proprietary pictures already imprinted on the bottle.
Oh, wow.
So I'm happy to customize, and that's the beauty. We can do whatever we want, right?
Yes. Yes, because as you know, as I mentioned to you earlier, yeah, my main job is actually travel agent, and I
Mhm.
like to take like a nice big bottle when I'm out, maybe have like my website like going down the side or something and bling. Yeah, I think that would be really neat. So how much would something like that run?
They run, well, like I said, it depends on the complexity. And
Mhm.
another option that I've just been able to start offering in the last 6 to 7 months has been also some laser engraving. So it's a
Oh,
different process, and it's actually in the paint of the bottle, so it's not going to come off or wear off. So that we can actually do a combination of laser engraving and bling to help keep some of the costs down, because obviously the Swarovski crystals will be the biggest part of the investment of the project, because it is a medium to higher tier priced item. I like to say it's not something you're going to find on a shelf at a Walmart or Target. So it's definitely a work of art, and there's time involved, and um, all the crystals are hand placed, so it's very
oh,
meticulous
wow.
and durable. Everything that I create and put out into the world is intended to be useful and practical, not something to just be looked at with the eye and not appreciated. So I'm very, very intentional on usefulness and being practical.
So what's the digitizing fee? Because I was thinking like on this here, like maybe have the name of the show or something on top here. So
Hmm.
is that something that you can do?
Yeah,
Like either
absolutely.
the logo or some verbiage. So how much would something like that run?
Depends on the size of the project and the time. I would say anywhere between 20 and $30, just depending on the
Oh, really?
complexity amount and
Okay.
the amount of crystals. Depends on what you want. So to quote prices just verbatim really is a disservice to you and me until we actually know, what the specific project is
Yeah,
going to
what
be.
the size is and
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
wow. Okay. Well, let me do a really quick announcement. There is a couple likes on the page. So if you would like to comment here on this broadcast, make sure that you're at Ask Cindy Connector Live. You could actually just click the video. And you're also going to need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook. So what else you got going on, Chris, that everybody needs to know about so I can connect you to my sphere of influence?
Well, I am very much in the way I show up with my branding, and just my image overall, and just how I show up in the community and give back. I'm definitely a go giver. I'm a give back girl, and I do a lot
Yes.
to provide impact and value within the community and also the people that I serve, just in my space. Positivity, inspiration, social impact is a huge part of the culture that I'm cultivating with Positively Panache. The Positively Panache is a fun alliteration. Positively means obviously everything that we impart into our creative box. Gifting solution will have an element of positivity and inspiration. And if you look up the meaning of panache, it actually means an elevated sense of style or swagger or style
Oh,
and
I love it. I
and
love
and swagger is a quiet confidence, and that's kind of another way that just really speaks to who I am and how I show up. Not overly confident, but kind of a get the job done kind of girl. So some of the things that we've recently introduced into positively panache, also kind of embellished butterfly, are some of the affirmation cuffs that we actually create and customize.
Oh, wow. Let me see that. Can you do
Yeah,
that a little closer?
yep. Says dream it,
Oh,
believe it, achieve.
wow. Yes.
So we actually laser engrave. It's faux leather, and then of course we can also put business branding on the back side of it. But
Oh, I love that. Do you
so
have it in purple?
here's a fun one. It says let that shit go.
Oh my god, I needed to hear that.
Right.
Thank
But
you.
but even the one that I'm wearing, it says I decide. You know,
Yeah.
and the story behind the affirmation cuffs really
Oh,
goes back to when I first started my sales career, and I used to be an X-ray tech, and and then I went into the X-ray sales and service industry, and there was a store that I used to go into when I had time in this territory, and I had to commute like 4 hours away from my home. Um, even though we're action people, right? We're always doing the daily habits to move ourselves forward. Well, sometimes we, as entrepreneurs or we're self-employed or whatever, we struggle, right? We feel like we're kind of in between a rock and a hard place, and we
yeah.
really need some of that encouragement, that mental stamina. Well, there's a store in Charlotte, North Carolina called Successories, and I'm not sure if anybody here listening is familiar with that name, but you've seen the pictures. You go into a business office and you see these magnificent pictures on the wall, and they have these quotes around strength, courage, integrity, teamwork. All those amazing things that make a company or individual, those inherent characteristics. So those are kinds of things that I was feeding off of when I was traveling by myself, and just those little bitty reminders of those things that I resonate with that were going to help me keep putting that foot in front of the other. So the affirmation cuffs are for the individual who maybe they have a personal mantra for the
Mhm.
year, like I am worthy, I decide, um, let that shit go, right? or strength, courage. It doesn't matter. It's for the individual user to kind of remind themselves, that little reminder that they can wear all the time, and just kind of help them get through a slump in their day, because we all have them as entrepreneurs. There's no denying it.
Well, we actually met for a reason because I actually was on Amazon maybe about a year and a half ago. And yeah, so my thing with my travel brand is make the most of the dash. So I got a really cute little bracelet, but literally I wore it maybe for 2 weeks because every time I turn it on, put it on and put it back on, it start bending and bending, and finally it just broke off. So how much verbiage can we actually put on there for it to show, or would it probably wrap around?
Well, we can wrap it, we can, well, it won't wrap around, but we actually have these in two different sizes.
Okay.
This is the small to medium size, like what I'm wearing for a
Mhm.
normal wrist.
Yeah.
But if we do the font small enough, you can put a couple sentences on there.
Yeah. I was
It
just
will
thinking the hashtag, make the most of the dash.
make the most of the dash. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the time you're born and the time you die, right? The life.
exactly.
I got you.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So that's really awesome.
Mhm.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that I met you. Thank you, Tirza. Appreciate you, girl. Wow. Another amazing powerhouse. Chris, thank you so much. And is
Thank
there
you.
anything you'd like to say to my audience? I'm going to put you in a green room and I'll close out the show.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any special plugs to any of your
Oh gosh.
friends that you work with?
Well, look for me on Facebook. It's Chris Dyer. You've got my website, and also you can find me on Instagram. It's chris.dyer.bling.artist. And on my business page on Facebook is Keeping Your Sparkle.
Okay.
And there'll be updates about workshops. I'm doing 2 workshops a month now, on the second and the last Sunday. So it's not coinciding with Tears' workshop on the 13th. So I'll probably have one on the 14th on
Oh,
Valentine's.
wow. Okay.
But it's an opportunity for women to connect and create and just stay in touch with what we're doing, because we're coming up with new stuff all the time, especially with the collaboration.
Well, thank you so much. And I'll see you in the green room in just a minute.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. So there you go, guys. Make sure that you connect with Chris. Check out her website at embellishbutterfly.com. This is Cindy, your host at Ask Cindy Connector Live. Go out and make a difference. Say hello. Compliment others. It is so important to be a servant leader and be kind to others. This is Cindy, your host at Ask Cindy Connector Live. Stay tuned for my next guest at 3 p.m.